the speaker of this session, that is Alexios Zavras, the Chief Open Source Compliance Officer at Intel. Welcome to SFS, and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Great to be here again. So, yeah, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alexios Zavras. As you can tell by the name, I'm Greek. I'm working at a large American company called Intel. I'm at the OSPO, the Open Source Program Office, and I'm going to be shifting a little. We were talking about policies and public administrations and EU and all this stuff. Now I'm going to be speaking about what's happening inside companies, organizations, or whoever that they have, they're dealing with software, and how does AI affect us, right? So in case you were asleep in the last months, AI revolution has already happening, right? It's already here. I have lots of words in the slides. I'm not going to be reading through all of them. The slides will be on the wonderful website here, so yeah. You can read them later, right? So AI revolution is happening. Even if you are in an organization that you think this is not affecting you, you should know better, because it definitely does. And even if you have not taken decisions about what you're doing with AI, your employees probably have ignored you and they're doing what they're thinking is best, even if they do not tell you loudly and clear what to do. So we've all heard about, ChatGPT, Copilot, different solutions. Everything is being deployed and being used. And this brings a problem to whoever is doing traditional, before this part, before AI, traditional software governance, right? And therefore, we have a very large black hole in what we're doing. Traditionally, what we're doing in OSPOs, in open source program offices, is we know what the software looks like, and we keep track of licenses, and we manage, the software supply chain, and we know we will producing these products, and we're getting this library, or we're getting this third-party proprietary software, and we're building something, and we're shipping software, and we understand what's happening in the realms of software. And we take care of security, of course, vulnerability, and all this wonderful stuff. We produce or help people produce SBOMs, software bill of materials. I'm usually speaking about SBOMs in many places. And we have our own policies, and we explain it to the developers inside the organization. Here's how you should be doing software. AI changes all this stuff, right? And the fundamental shift that is happening is that AI is redefining what a software asset is, right? Software usually used to mean, this is our source code, right? And we have binaries, we have libraries, we have source code, we have executables, we have the dependency modules, whatever you want to call them, but we knew that. AI introduces new stuff, like things like, models, data sets, training pipelines, and inference engines, and wonderful new words, right? So now when you're thinking about software, it's not only, your source code or your executable, your library, but you're talking about, models, pre-trained and fine-tuned and all this stuff. Right, data sets that you use to train or to validate whatever you're producing, right? Weights, parameters, and even worse, if you're talking code generating LLMs, you have AI generated code, right? So all this is becoming software, right? And we didn't know, most of the OSPOs do not know how to handle that. So the traditional tools that we're using, these are falling short, right? We knew how to look at code and maybe scan it and find out the libraries, the dependencies, look at the licenses, collect the copyright notices, doing all these wonderful things. But yeah, running dependency trackers to find every module that is being used or is imported or downloaded from the internet or whatever. But now we're talking about models, right? And so all this stuff is falling short on this one. And security tools do the same, right? They scan the code, they find vulnerabilities, they have no idea how to scan, models or different things that are being used, right? Going towards the output, we wish to produce SBOMs, software bill of materials or system bill of materials, but yeah, until now they don't capture AI details, right? And OSPOs, like the people in your organizations who try to take care of all this stuff, yeah, we're a little blind on this one. Right. So I'm going to be presenting a couple, five, if I remember correctly, challenges new stuff that appears in our day-to-day workload, right, as working in an OSPO. Right. So the license complexity of actually AI model, right? So yeah, you're using an AI model, right? What is the license for that? Until now, we used to have, hey, I'm using a library, I look at the license, I can say if I can use it or not. If it's open source, I can probably use it. And yeah, that was clear, right? Models now have completely different terms, right? They have their own clauses. We have not yet reached the point of standardization of AI licenses, right? We actually, one of the most common license out there that it's been used and reused for different models has an actual annex of things that should not be done by the models that you're using, and each one is reusing the same license, but they're changing the annex. So you cannot actually refer to say, hey, yes, I'm using this license, because everyone is customizing this license, so you don't know if you're allowed to use it, right? So you don't know if you can use it, you don't know how the data was produced, you don't know how the model was trained, you don't know where the actual data came from. So yeah. There's a big gap there in order to find. Moving on, a completely different challenge. The security part of that. That was the licensing part of a model, the security part of a model. Right. You have a model and you trust it to get some output. That's a very bad decision if you trust things that you do not understand, right? So we have seen easily demonstrable cases of model poisoning. On the other hand, you're using models not locally, but provided by some provider, AI provider, or whatever you want to call him, right? And you send your data there. Maybe your data is not secure enough, or it's get leaked, or you are getting information from other sources that should not be used by you, right? And the security of AI models is still, leaves a lot to be desired until now, right? Then think again, the supply chain, right? We used to have the same thing on the part that we knew about what's happening in software, but now we have models that you start with a model and you fine-tune it, or you specialize it and you produce another model based on that one. So whatever bad things were initially in the model, maybe they are inherited in your next one, and all this supply chain gets poisoned, and you get the disadvantages in every step, right? Or you don't know the actual quality, right? Most of the things that we are seeing publicly have been trained on, data set that are not really, cleared, or of very high quality, and in most of the times you don't care, right? It works fine until the time that it doesn't, right? Completely different challenge is, okay, SBOM, my usual, the nice topic. So when you are producing a an OSBOM is, a catalog, a list of things, a table of contents of what's inside your software. How do you actually describe AI, right? And we never know. We don't know until now, right? I'm, as again, many of you might know, I'm part of the SPDX project initiative, and we're trying to define, and we have, a new definition of how the SBOM should include information about AI models. But this introduces, a whole new set of information, right? You used to say, okay, for a library, I say I get it from there. This is the version number. Maybe this is a complete hash of the source code if I want to be correct. And this is the license. And you were good enough. Now for the AI model, it's not that you say, I'm using this one. I'm using this one. It was trained on this data. It was created like that. I fine-tuned it. I changed that. All this stuff. And you have to have a way of expressing this information. We're not there yet. Last challenge. When AI is being used to generate code, and unfortunately the software developer and the engineers in many organizations are very fast to adopt new technologies and start using things without thinking or asking people whether they should do it. Right, so you have an LLM that has produced code. Okay, who owns this code? What's the intellectual property underlying this and the license for this code, right? Is it yours? If it's yours, since you didn't write it or nobody wrote it, right? So how do you refer to that? Or how do you track it inside, again, you're inside your SBOM and stuff like that. We used to say, okay, I'm writing this code and there's going to be a code review and somebody can ask the developer, why did you do it this way? Nowadays, you get, okay, here's a bunch of things that AI produced. The reviewer cannot then ask anyone, right? Because it wasn't written by a human who can answer questions, right? So the shift of work is shifting to, the main work is shifting towards review instead of actually composing and writing the code, developing the code. So these are just, a few challenges of what's changing with AI. So in order to address this, OSPOs have to evolve, right? There is no way around it, right? So you have to expand whatever. If you're the person doing, OSPO things or, software management things, you have to expand and you have to develop your AI policies. You have to, understand what's happening. You have to do the risk assessment. You have to adjust whatever you're doing now to also handle AI, right? Practical next steps for people in the same line of work as I am in different time frames, right? Start by trying to find out what's happening with AI in your organization, because something is happening even if you don't know it, right? Start developing licensing and security policies according to what you're doing, usually expand it for AI, extend them for AI. Implement dependency tracking and SBOM generation handling AI stuff, right? We're going long-term, integrate governance into what you're doing, right? The same way that at some point you have integrated software governance for what you're doing. And always stay current, right? I mean, things now are changing even faster than at any rate before. And yeah, you cannot, get asleep on the wheel. And yeah, if you miss 6 months, you have missed a generation of tools, stuff like that. So governance is not optional anymore. It's essential that you do it. If you're doing OSPO, that's that will be your job, right? To handle AI and AI governance, right? You have to expand beyond what you're usually done for software, right? In order to include AI, right? And you have to do it now, right? You cannot wait for all the standards to be established, and yeah, let's wait to see how SBOMs will deal with AI and stuff like that. Done. On time.
Thank you, Alexios, for your presentation. If there are questions, of course, we can briefly take them. Yes, the microphone is coming.
OSPO is something like even a tool or a suite of tools, or is a way to manage this complexity?
No, the usual OSPO is an abbreviation of Open Source Program Office. So it's the team inside organization, company, project, who is doing, all the management of all this stuff. And, they're the people who used to do that for software libraries and software components, and now they have to, learn new things, as we learn every day.
Every day.
As we encounter every day.